U.S. Bank Voyager. Fuel, maintenance, and more. Managing fleet expenses and payments can be a major challenge, especially without the right solutions. The U.S. Bank Voyager Fleet Program offers businesses a single source solution to help manage and control fleet fuel and maintenance costs.
Welcome to Faces of Fleet, an interview series coming to you from Work Truck, where we take a more personal look at the many interesting people in fleet and some of the experiences that helped shape them into who they are today. Before we get started, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss an episode. I'm Lauren Fletcher, Executive Editor of Fleet, Trucking, and Transportation at Bobit, and today I'm chatting with Exavious Farley, founder and CEO of the Black Fleet Network. If you've been watching my videos or reading my content for a while, you know that I'm passionate about the people in our industry and growing its inclusivity. But admittedly, my focus has been on growing representation for women in fleet. But there is still a major diversity gap in our industry, and it goes beyond gender. Enter the Black Fleet Network, a growing collective of professionals. According to its website, with vastly diverse backgrounds, skill sets, and personal narratives, the Black Fleet Network is a mosaic of professionals that drive the industry forward. We support each other because we know what it takes to make the dream work. Our expertise is immeasurable, and our vibe is the substance that defines culture. I'm sure you all recognize Zay. He's been a familiar face in the fleet industry since 2015. I'm lucky to have worked alongside him for several years while at Bobit, where I saw his passion for fleet and people firsthand. Welcome, Zay.
Hey, Lauren, it's great to be here. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on here. So, you have probably one of the most eclectic job histories of anyone I've met, and each experience has led you here today. Let's start with a little background for anyone who hasn't had the opportunity to meet you before. How did your path lead you to fleet to begin with?
Oh my. Well, the majority of my professional life was really focused on the humanitarian side of things. So I spent about 20 years actually in church ministry. Focused on young people primarily. And that was coast to coast in a variety of places, starting in Tennessee, where I'm from originally. And shout out to Nashville, Cashville, Glassville. And that later developed into school teaching. And I became a high school teacher. And, you know, life happens and you find yourself in places that sometimes you just never dreamed. And I've done all kinds of things in between. But in terms of careers, those were kind of the two paths that I had taken prior to Fleet. And, you know, the way I look at it, I didn't find Fleet, Fleet found me. And I was frankly looking for a career shift, a life shift. Working with people is phenomenal. And when you're doing it at a certain level, it's also taxing, just to be honest. And it was taking a toll on my family, it was taking a toll on me. And frankly, the pay wasn't that awesome. And I'd always heard that sales is where the money is. So when I found out about an opportunity for sales at Bobit, I inquired and there it was. And here we are now, a few years on the other side of that. So that's how that all got started.
Well, I, for one, am certainly glad that Fleet found you. Let's move to the question that I'm sure is on everybody's mind. So I provided a little bit of background, but let's hear it from you. What is the Black Fleet Network?
Black Fleet Network is a collective of Black professionals in the commercial vehicle and fleet space. So we are not exclusively only Black professionals. We're hands and arms open to anyone. For those who are not Black, we affectionately consider those people defenders. But the drive and our mission is to push for greater equity for Black professionals in the fleet industry across the spectrum. So, you know, we're not an association as many people are kind of used to those out there. We are a network, and we really see the word network as a verb. There is a need to proactively connect and interact and engage with each other, because if you see any movement that's successful It doesn't happen in a vacuum. It doesn't happen on an island for any one person or even, a couple of people. It really takes that group think and that group effort. And, in a nutshell, that is Black Fleet Network. We are bringing people together from, anywhere, all walks of life. It's, we're multi-generational, we're at various stages of our careers, but we are coming together to do something that has never been done in the way of supporting and advocating for Black professionals in this space.
So it sounds like, I mean, you saw a void that needed to be filled, this lack of representation and advocacy. How is Black Fleet Network making an impact?
So it's funny you use the word, representation, and we throw that around, right? But when you really break it down to, represent, which is, literally, over and over again to present. If you go to your typical, fleet industry event, no matter where it is in the country, it's going to look very homogenous. And I point to those events because that is a convergence of where people from various, places and careers within fleet are coming together. And, for there to be only a handful at best of Black people, um, when I first went to my first event back in 2016, was that was impactful. um, and I've talked to people who they've actually said it's scary to be so low. When you're among 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 people, and yeah, you're there for the education, yeah, you're there for connection, but then there's that part, right? I mean, at the end of the day, at the beginning of the day, we are human, and you know, it doesn't matter what your education level is, your socioeconomic background, everybody wants a level of comfort that comes from just basic familiarity. And, you know, yeah, we want to look beyond the surface and the skin tone, but the fact is that's just what our eyes see, and that's what we lock on to initially, right? And so, but we also know that there's, a deeper cultural reality there, and so much more. So, to present in this space is critical for everybody, and for Black people, I really saw this as a missed opportunity in terms of the the economic opportunities that exist in fleet. This is it's the stuff that families are made of. It's the stuff that grows communities, and we just need to be here. But where we are dope, and we tend to lead in a variety of ways. We're innovative, we're inventive, and we're managing some awesome teams out here, and we're doing some really cool and creative things in fleet. But for whatever suppressions or oppressions or dismissivenesses or dismissiveness that's happening, um, we're not visible. And so, that representation of the Black person, of the Black voice, of the Black intelligence is critical here.
I mean, BFN's mission is creating greater equity within all facets of the fleet industry for professionals and students who are Black, African American, or of Black African descent. So,
Mhm.
what steps are you taking to make this happen?
We show up wherever we can, number one, right? Um, I mean, you understand from the media space, that's kind of the beautiful thing about the written word. It can go anywhere, it can live anywhere. Um, well, word breeds life. And so, we want to be where people are. So we're at events. We're fortunate to have opportunities like this to be able to share who we are and our mission through these mediums. We're creating our own mediums of communication, and I mean that's really a lot of it is creating, because what Black people don't traditionally have across the board is these channels of opportunity where somebody can just, simply reach over and say, hey, I have something for you, or I know somebody who can help you get to your desired point B. So, we're very much grassroots, but we're building relationships with any and everyone that makes sense. Of course, there's, the fleet decision makers, there are the suppliers, the vendors in the space, but, we're going beyond that. We're reaching into, political officials, colleges and universities, or, trade and vocational schools out here. Eventually we'll reach into high schools to go after juniors and seniors who we know, because we've all been there, probably don't have a sure bead on what they want to do with their lives. But to help make them aware of the opportunities and possibilities in fleet, because they are vast.
I love it. Community and industry involvement is absolutely essential for efforts such as what you're doing over at BFN. And I know we mentioned a little bit about this earlier, but Bobit's excited to be one of the canopy level sponsors of the Black Fleet Network. And you mentioned you found a way to enable anyone, regardless of race, to find a way to stand up and support BFN's efforts. Can you tell us just a little bit more about some of the different opportunities to support BFN?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked me this. We often get this question, how can we support you? Which is awesome. And yes, we want and need support. But at the same time, we're here to support the industry, right? So we're very much looking at this as a two-way street, because it is. Again, we bring immense value as Black professionals. I mean, on the basic level, we tend to be pretty cool, and everybody wants some cool around. Um, and so, but first of all, become a member. We are a network, and we understand that there's power in numbers, there's influence in numbers. And so anyone who is interested in supporting, being a part of this collective, staying abreast of what's happening in the industry at large, but certainly within the Black community, become a member. And with that, stay in communication with us, engage with us across social. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. We have a newsletter, subscribe to that thing. All of those things count as support. But then we get down to the nitty gritty, right? We are an organization, a 501c3, by the way. So we are a charitable nonprofit. So any funds, resources that come our way are tax deductible, which is an incredible bonus for anybody contributing. But there are levels that we have established in terms of sponsorship, and it is really based on kind of that grassroots effort. And you hear the terms root, branch, and canopy. Well, if you were to imagine a tree, and then several that comprise a forest, right? There's that root level. That's where all the nutrients are happening. That's where all the watering is taking effect. It's where all the life is being bred, is in those roots. And those root sponsors, shout out to J3 Management Group, shout out to Asset Works. Those are our day ones, if you will. Those are the sponsors, the partners who are in it for the long ride. So any and everyone is welcome to be a root sponsors. Those are really set aside mostly for corporate entities. So any and all come, and those details are on our website. But then there are the branch sponsors, right? Those are the entities, could be an individual, could be a company, who are really in it kind of day to day with us. And maybe coming with a creative idea of their own. For instance, there's a company that we'll announce soon who just put forth resources for 15 memberships for Black professionals and students. So 10 professional memberships and 5 student memberships, and like that's everything. And just think of the branches that extend and really reach out to get additional resources and help that organism grow. But then there's the canopy, right? That's not a less than by any means, but those are really the entities that provide cover and shade to, not that kind of shade, but good helpful shade, to again help the organism grow and really reproduce the good that is very possible within this. So, there are lots of ways. We welcome anyone to bring creative ideas, because again, we're doing some things from scratch, doing some things that have never been done before, but some things that are sorely needed to correct some wrongs, frankly, but also to heighten some rights and really move this thing forward.
I love it. It's clear fleet managers, manufacturers, suppliers, even trade publishers like Bobit have a space in BFN.
Absolutely.
And it looks like, we can support in many different ways, but what can we do now to actually help and make a difference?
Well, this is where we really go below the surface, right? I mean, we see a lot of DEI initiatives out there to the point where, I mean, DEI in and of itself is an industry now. And, those efforts really resulted from injustices mostly against Black people. But what ended up happening with DEI is it took angles that, interestingly, didn't come back to benefit Black people in a lot of ways. And that's unfortunate, but it's not like it's too late. It's not like that can't be corrected. So, we challenge every company out there because, these companies hold incredible power. They're providing resources for people's livelihoods. People are investing in those companies. They've gone to school, they've gotten certifications, and they're pouring their talents and brilliance into those companies. Lower the barriers to entry. That's number one. There may be times for handouts, but more than that, there's always time, and there's a call for every human being to give a hand up when they can, and that's really what it's about. We're okay as Black people. We get it done. We hustle. We know how to traverse. We have clearly blazed through every challenge that history has given us. So it's not like we, or shrinking, saying, "Oh, please, no." It's not that. But let's not throw up the barriers. That's not helpful because everybody's missing out. Yes, people in our community are missing out, but those companies, those agencies are also missing out. There's talent, there's brilliance, there's creativity, there's a vibe that blesses the world. And if we look, beyond the fleet industry, look at music, entertainment, look at academia, look at, I mean, some of the dopest authors ever. I mean, we can go on and on and on. It's us, and we have a serious stake in building this country, and we're still doing it. And so, yeah, let's think about the hand up, and let's lower those barriers to entry, and let's get busy building this industry in our nation to the fullest extent.
I think that's just some of the best advice and tips to give. Really, really empowering to do it. And I know I'm looking at one of those creative faces right here in front of me, and I'm glad to have you on here. Bringing it back to fleet. What is one of the biggest lessons you've learned from your time in this very interesting industry that we're all involved in?
Relationships truly are everything. I knew that coming in, but it takes on a different face in this world of business in fleet. I'm sure that there are all kind of flavors of people in the industry, but the vast majority of those I've had the opportunity to meet, it truly was an opportunity because there are just a lot of genuine, hardworking people in fleet. And I want to clarify here, when we talk fleet, we mean it with a capital F, fleet. You and I know there are an insane number of verticals within the overall industry, But whether you're a driver, a technician, a marketing MBA, a fleet owner, a supplier, whatever the case may be, whoever you are, there is a space for you, and the connectivity is awesome. Um, I've heard interesting verbiage like fleet being very incestuous. I don't know if that's the best term out there, but as a career, I haven't met hardly anyone who left their current post when I met them who didn't stay in the industry. And I think it is because of those connections. So again, relationships are everything. And yes, there's business to be done and money to be made, and we all need that, sure. But what we all need more than anything is each other. And I've been in a lot of different industries, but I can truly say this is one that has its hooks in me because of the genuineness of people.
Yeah, fleet keeps businesses moving, and it definitely is the people behind that that makes a really big impact.
Absolutely.
So closing things out, what has been your favorite part of being involved in fleet?
You just made a statement that it keeps things moving. I really believe fleet moves the world. And interestingly, prior to entering the space, I was, for whatever reason, just blind to that. Although I get mail, I see my waste picked up every week. Way too many deliveries at my door for goods that have been purchased. Um, but really, what would the world be without this industry? uh, Things, people, ideas would not get moved. And to me, that's just an intrinsic power that is worth latching on to. And, you know, plenty of us sit around and we may geek out about innovations and cool things that are coming. But what a lot of people don't know and should know, a lot of that actually starts here in fleet. And people are breaking their necks, they're staying up late at night. I mean, there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into coming up with cool things that are actually practical and helpful to the world. That fleet is all over. So that's what stands out to me.
Well, clearly you're passionate about it, and it looks like this is something that you've got a lot of knowledge and a lot of time behind. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me and share a little bit about your story and your passion.
No, thank you, Lauren, and thank you, Bobit. This is a lot of dream come true, and it's some cool full circle. So glad to be here. And Lauren, personally, I appreciate you to the utmost. You are a true friend, and I am glad that we have had a chance to make a positive dent in this industry together.
Let's make it happen. So, for anyone interested in learning more about or joining or sponsoring the Black Fleet Network, or for more episodes of Faces of Fleet or Truck Chat, check out our links below. As always, thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button and comment below to let me know who I should chat with next. And be on the lookout for more episodes of Truck Chat coming soon, where I'll continue to focus on the people and the issues that matter most to work truck fleets.